witnesses that were here. It was well known. He says, you are blessed. You're in a ni'mah to have someone teach you the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You forgot to mention upon the understanding of the Salaf al-Salih, which you mentioned in another lecture. So which one is it? But forget that. Muhammad Ibn Muneer is your teacher, so therefore you are blessed. Would the people be blessed to have a deviant that's on his way to the hellfire, who admits that he's going to the hellfire? Would they be blessed with that person being their teacher, or would they be cursed and tested with having an evil deviant teaching them and being their imam?
Masjids and all over the world don't have somebody to teach.
How many masjids don't have someone to teach them? How many masjids are there? He says even in Yemen.
For you all to be here in America and you have somebody learning to teach you.
He says that Muhammad Munir is learned. Someone being learned in Islam, is that a praise or a dispraise? Is that tazkiyah? Is that madh or them? Which one, Abdul-Hakeem? You're blessed to have someone learned teaching you the Quran and Sunnah. Is that a praise or a dispraise?
I heavily encourage you all to benefit from the brother.
I heavily, not encourage you. I don't advise. He says, I heavily encourage you to benefit from the brother, Muhammad Ibn Muneer.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him and aid him.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward a deviant who admits that he's a deviant and he's calling the people to Jahiliyyah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward a black nationalist. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward someone who belittles and disrespects and defames the scholars. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward someone who does interviews with women, etc., 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 etc.
His affairs, and bless you all in knowledge, bless you all in good deeds, and bless you all in da'wah in Allah. Now, before we look at
and that's the end of what we wanted to play, because he starts his talk with regards to the way of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, the Hanafism. So therefore, I believe that it's more than enough to say that Abdul-Hakeem came to New York City, and it seems as if he praised Muhammad Ibn Muneer. But he said in another voice recording that we played for you that people thought that he praised me, or they understood that I praised me, and it wasn't an actual praise of him. So what was it? Let's let the viewers and the listeners be the judge of your speech. Is that praising someone or not? Khayran, inshallah. So that's a major contradiction. And you either take back your praise of me, or you say that you didn't praise me. But last but not least is it suitable for a student of knowledge and a caller to Allah and someone who's learning in Dammaj to come to America and to talk about someone that you barely know? Someone that you just based off of a hearsay, what I heard, what I thought, and then later on continue to confuse himself. He said what I knew. So therefore, either you were ignorant and you speak upon ignorance, or you're foolhardy and you're easily tricked and led. Someone puts a carrot in front of you and you walk. Muhammad Ibn Muneer is Salafi, he's good, he's learning. Okay, I'll go to his masjid, I'll give a lecture, and I'll praise him. Or, I don't know that much about Muhammad Ibn Muneer, but I think I heard some things, so I'm going to praise him. Is that the condition? Do you fulfill the prerequisites for someone to speak about Islam, that you talk without proper knowledge? What's the first thing you learn in al-usul al-thalatha? Al-ilmu qabla al-qawli wal-amal. Knowledge precedes speech and action. So therefore, all of this can be swept under the rug. If you just praise me, disparage me, the people, they run down on you, they force you to retract it and take that statement back, and then you can say whatever you want to say. But we have your voice recordings. We have what you said. And it's clear that you're confused. I thought, I heard, and I knew. And this lecture is dated October 15th, 2017. Okay, October 15th on 2017. When did I make the statements in which I belittled the scholars? When did I go and sit with the people of innovations that are clearly not upon the sunnah? We didn't get into that, but when? Was it before October, or was it known? So it goes to show you that you don't know what you're talking about. And you speak based off of what the next man tells you. And if that's the case, then you're unsuited. You're unsuited to be a Salafi caller. Khayran, inshallah. So let's move forward. Let's just deal with a few points with with regards to the points that he brought up against us. First and foremost, he says, or we have here written down, that he doesn't call to the Quran and the Sunnah based upon the understanding of the Salaf. Please, Abdul-Hakeem, prove that. And alhamdulillah, I would say one of the virtues of our dawah channels, whether it's Mufti Q&A or Hadith Disciple, or the other lectures, the older lectures, the books that we put out, they're all transparent. And we can say this without boasting and without bragging. But not too many other people that I know of have all of their works live streamed and uploaded. Every khutbah that I've done in the United States over the last 3 years, and many khutbahs even older than that, are on my channel. Every lecture, every book that I explain, every 5 minutes of faida, everything that we do is up there. So prove from these videos, almost 2,000 videos, in which I'm not calling to the book and the sunnah upon the Salaf as-Salih. Then we can do the same with you. How many lectures do you have, Abdul-Hakeem? How many books did you write? Did you translate any books? Where's your legacy? So let's see in what you call to. But our information, walillahil hamd, is transparent. And not too many people, they do this. I know many speakers, when they do a khutbah, they don't upload it. They have to edit it. Wallahi al-azim, and I won't call names, but there are brothers whose names I can mention who live in Philadelphia right now that are imams of masjids. I won't mention your name. In which he came into the Dawah Center, whenever he did a talk or a lecture, he would walk around with a tape recorder and listen to himself, and rewind it and rewind it and rewind it. Make sure that it was picture perfect. I don't want my lecture going up and I said this and I didn't say that. Are you a person of knowledge? Why are you afraid? What are you scared of? What do you have to retract and fix if you're qualified to give a khutbah? As Shaykh Abdul-Muhsin, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, our Shaykh said regarding a person who wrote a book. And in the book, the person had a bunch of scholars to make the introduction. Several scholars, 6 or 7 scholars. Shaykh Abdul-Muhsin, he said, one who is confident in what he wrote doesn't need the praise of this one and that one. One who's confident in what he says, he doesn't need to keep listening to it and editing it and checking it. Unless you're afraid of the people and you're trying to portray a perfect image. And I don't want anyone to say anything about me. Our khutbahs are not like that. Walillahil hamd. As soon as we do the khutbah, it's uploaded. As we do the khutbah, it's live streamed on Facebook, on YouTube. So any point that we say that's against Kitab, Sunnah, and understanding of the Salaf, it's there. Tafaddal. Please prove this claim and refute it with the Kitab, with the Sunnah, and with the Ijma'. And if not, then you're making an accusation and you're making a slander against someone. Hopefully that's a Muslim. Am I a Muslim to you? Hopefully I am. And if I am a Muslim, then what are the rulings, or what does the Prophet ﷺ say about speaking about a Muslim and you don't have the proper knowledge? And talking about a Muslim's honor and saying that he's a deviant without the proper evidence, without the proper proof. The next point, he says he belittles the scholars. We're finished with that. We're done with that. Worst come to worst, push come to shove. For argument's sake, I belittled the scholars. How many lectures, Abdul-Hakeem? That was one lecture. It wasn't even a lecture. It was a Q&A session. And I said what I said, even though I clarified it and I made clear what I meant. But for worst come to worst, push come to shove, I belittled the scholars how many times? Once. I didn't make tawbah, I didn't recant it. You said that I belittled the scholars. It's a continual thing. Please prove, Yahi. Please prove why I belittle scholars from my speech. I want you to, please. We hope that you can bring our voice clips in which we belittle the scholars of Islam. Tafaddal. Next point, he says he attends and he gives lectures with those who are clearly not upon the Sunnah. I'm asking you once more, humbly requesting for you to prove those that I give lectures with who are clearly not upon the Sunnah. Those that I give lectures with that aren't Salafi, perhaps. Those who have some issues and you disagree with them and you feel that they're wrong in this stance or this view, maybe, mumkin. La nunkir hadha. We don't deny that. We believe that it's permissible. We believe that it's correct. We believe that we have the proof and evidence to go to this lecture, to go to this masjid, and to do this conference. But where are those individuals who are clearly not upon the Sunnah, such as who? Such as who? If I'm on a flyer with someone, that doesn't mean I'm giving a lecture with them. That doesn't mean that I share a platform with them. That doesn't mean that I'm sitting next with them. And even if I did sit next with them, are they Muslim? Are they kuffar? And what's the ruling on cooperating with the kuffar upon bir and taqwa? What's the ruling on taking the truth from the kuffar? Did Allah Azza wa Jal not confirm what Iblis said when he swore by Allah Azza wa Jal that most of your servants won't be grateful? Did the Prophet not say to Abu Hurairah, Sadaqaka wa kadhub? He's told you the truth and he's a great liar. وَتَعَاوُنْ عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. Cooperate upon bir and taqwa, and do not cooperate upon sin and transgression. Prove that. But forget that issue. Where are those individuals that are clearly not upon the Sunnah, that are upon clear bid'ah and mukhalafat shariyyah? Tafaddal, please prove that. Please prove that. Then the next point, he says he himself admits that he's a deviant. We clarified that. Please prove where I said that. Please bring 2 just witnesses where I said that. And we don't want to hear what you say and what you claim, because that's not enough for clear reasons. Prove where I said that I am a deviant and I've strayed from the way of the Salaf as-Salih. Last but not least, with regards to black nationalism, or even before that, there's a few more points. Where am I calling to black nationalism? And what? When I said about being asked about Black Lives Matter and the reality of the social situation of the United States of America, the history of the United States of America, the civil rights movement that you yourself benefit from in the United States of America, that's calling to black nationalism? And even if I did say something that was black nationalism, where am I calling to it? Where am I calling to it? I think there's 1,927 videos on Hadith Disciple channel. On Mufti Q&A, maybe 430, 450 videos. That's just on those two channels. Out of all, that's 2,000 videos, let alone the voice recordings in the books. Where am I calling to black nationalism? What do my playlists have? Lulu Marjan, 5 minutes of faida, this khutbah, this book review, this translation of a fatwa. Where's the black nationalism that I'm calling to? For argument's sake, I call to black nationalism in that one video. For argument's sake. But where am I calling to it at? Or he says the Mardiya show with Shadeed Muhammad. He didn't say this on tape, but from other sources. That's a call to Jahiliyyah. What's a call to Jahiliyyah? Prove when I said that I'm calling to black nationalism. Rather, if you take my speech from the Mardiya show, I was the one who tried to bring balance to the situation and try to push people away from always mentioning about racism and prejudice and colorism and looking at it in a positive effect that the Prophet warned us. And he told us that this is going to be in his ummah and they're never ever going to leave it alone. Where did I call to black nationalism? Now, Brother Shadeed Muhammad called to black nationalism. This sister, this brother, and I didn't speak out. I didn't reject them. I didn't refute them. I didn't revile them on the stage. Maybe you can say that. But you can't say that I'm calling to black nationalism. And what is black nationalism? Is there a nation called black? Is there a country called black? This is the continent of black. What is nationalism? Is there a nation of black people, or is black a race? What's black nationalism? What are you talking about, Abdul-Hakeem? The next point he says here is that he sitting with women. I've never sat with a woman and done an interview. That was Shadeed. And what's clearly haram about doing an interview with a woman? From the Kitab, the Sunnah, and Ijma. Please inform me. Did he touch the woman? Was he alone with the woman, secluded? Did he travel with the woman? Was he lustfully looking at the woman? Was she lustfully looking at him? What is clearly haram? Possibly it's haram. I believe that it's haram. It's unbefitting for you to sit with this woman who's uncovered or she's half covered on the TV. But what is clearly haram about doing an interview on television talking about Islam with a woman? Please prove that, Abdul-Hakeem. And there are many other issues like this. People who came from the Dammaj going around declaring the masjid to be ghayr Salafi. It's not a Salafi masjid because it has a sadaqah box in it. It has a sadaqah box in the masjid, so the whole masjid is a deviant. He took a picture, he does a video, so he's a deviant. He doesn't do this, he doesn't say this, so he's a deviant. This is what type of methodology is this? Taking these issues of ijtihad that could go more than one way. And perhaps you're wrong and the person's right. They're not Salafi because of what? Because of these collective issues that are put together on a plate. Most importantly, what we want to explain right now is to give lectures for money and to seek money. So what do the scholars of Islam say about taking money for giving classes or benefiting people and spreading and sharing knowledge? What do they say about this? Let's read just a few fatwas and let's see who's actually following the ulama and who actually belittles the ulama. The first fatwa that we'll mention is from Shaykh Abdul-Aziz Ibn Baz rahimahullah ta'ala. He says, or the question is posed to him, ما حكم أخذ الأجرة على تحفيظ القرآن الكريم حيث إن لدينا إماما في قريتنا يأخذ أجرا على تحفيظ القرآن للصبيان. The question says, what is the ruling for taking a wage or taking a salary for teaching the glorious Quran? In our village, we have an imam who gets paid and he takes money for teaching children the Quran. Al-Jawab, the answer says, لا حرج في أخذ الأجرة على تعليم القرآن وتعليم العلم. He says there is no sin for taking wages and for being paid for teaching the Quran and for teaching knowledge. Because the first thing that you're going to say is, Shaykh bin Baz is talking about the Quran. He's not talking about lectures and dawah. But the Shaykh clearly says, وَتَعْلِيمَ الْعِلْمِ, teaching knowledge. Shaykh bin Baz then says, rahimahullah, لأن الناس في حاجة إلى التعليم ولأن المعلم قد يشق عليه ذلك ويعطله التعليم عن الكسب. He says, and this is because, why is it permissible? That's because the people need knowledge. The people, they need knowledge. And a person who's teaching knowledge, it may be difficult for him to seek a living and to teach. For him to work 10 hours, 12 hours, and to study, review, prepare, travel, and be available for the people and dealing with the people, picking up the phone and answering their questions and helping them out. He says it's very difficult. He says here, and him studying and learning and teaching could prevent him from seeking a living, prevent him from working full time. فإذا أخذ أجرة على تعليم القرآن وتحفيظه وتعليم العلم فالصحيح أنه لا حرج في ذلك. So if he takes wages, if he takes money for teaching the Quran and teaching knowledge, then that which is correct, that is no sin upon him. He says that which is correct to prove that there's a difference of opinion. And we're going to mention that in the next fatwa. So you're inkar, you're refuting us and rejecting us. The worst that it could be is that it's an issue of ikhtilaf. I have my view that I'm basing my action off of, that I believe is correct, and you have yours. So how can you repudiate me, say I'm not a Salafi because of an issue of ijtihad? Unless it's something which is programmed in you, and which many of the brothers, unfortunately, and the sisters who came from certain parts of the world, they spread this around the world. We make tabdi', we love, we hate, we show allegiance, we boycott based off of ijtihadat. And I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 of the issues that they bring up against people, whether it's people from Dammaj or Medina or Mecca or Spubs or this website or those people, these muqallideen and these people of ghulu and these extremists, whoever they are, 9 out of 10 issues, I guarantee you'll find that they're ijtihadat and they're issues of khilaf. In which they may be wrong and you may be right. But how are you making that your staple point and is an issue of khilaf among the ulama of Islam? The scholars, they themselves, they differ. One may say the khilaf is not a dalil, ya akhi. We don't use the khilaf as a dalil. We don't use it as a dalil. But we use to show you that your behavior is unnecessarily aggressive. And you wouldn't dare say that about this scholar and that scholar and this imam who did the same thing, if not worse. Obviously, alhamdulillah, there are certain people, whether they're from Dammaj or other places, whom we admire for their courage. We admire them not for their knowledge and their intelligence and their sense and their brains, but we admire them for at least they have the courage to speak what they truly feel in their hearts. And they have no problem talking about the mufti, talking about Fawzan, talking about this scholar, talking about... So with regards to an issue of ijtihad and of khilaf, and this is the view that you hold, that it's haram, absolutely haram, to take money for anything or any class or to want money or demand money, that's fine. If you're qualified to have that view, la ba's tayyib. But your inkar, your refutation, and your aggression is now going to lead you to a very dangerous place that I don't think you want to be. Shaykh Ibn Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala, he then says, وقد ثبت عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن جماعة من الصحابة نزلوا ببعض العرب فلدغ سيدهم يعني رئيسهم وأنهم عالجوه بكل شيء ولم ينفعه ذلك وطلبوا منهم أن يرقوه فتقدم عهد الصحابة فرقاه بفاتحة الكتاب. It says that it has been authentically proven from the Prophet ﷺ that once the Sahaba, they went to a town or a village, a patch of tents in the desert, in the wasteland, and the leader, the chieftain, the sheikh of that tribe, he was bit or stung by some type of venomous insect, scorpion or whatever, centipede, millipede, whatever the case may be, different insects that sting. So therefore he became sick based off of the venom, and they went to the Sahaba and they asked them to recite and read the Quran upon him, to make a ruqya on him, to cure him with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? فَتَقَدَّمْ أَحْدُ صَحَابَتِهِ فَرَقَاهُ بِفَاتِحَةِ الْكِتَابِ فَشَفَاهُ اللَّهُ وَعَافَاهُ. And he recited the Quran upon him. One of the Sahaba, he took the offer and he recited the Quran, Fatihatul Kitab, Surah Al-Fatiha, upon the chieftain. And Allah Azza wa Jalla miraculously, he was miraculously cured. And he went back to his health immediately. وَكَانُوا قَدْ اشْتَرَطُوا عَلَيْهِمْ قَطِيعًا مِنَ الْغَنَمِ فَأَوْفَوْا لَهُمْ بِشَرْطِهِمْ. And the Sahaba, they made a condition. We will not recite upon your leader unless you pay us in goat and sheep. If you give us certain amount of animals, 20 heads, 10 heads, 15 heads, 30 heads, then I will recite upon you. And we know here, outside of the fatwa, pausing the translation, the narration states that some of the Sahaba, they asked for their hospitality. They wanted them to look after them, to give them water. You know, they're traveling in the desert. And they refused. And then all of a sudden, when their chieftain became sick and he became ill, then they went and they begged them for service, for ruqyah. And the Sahaba, they said, we can recite, but we won't because you refuse to host us. Don't come back to us now asking us to help you out, but you couldn't even show us a basic act of kindness. Ibn Baz, rahimahullah, he then says, so therefore they made a condition for them to pay them for the recitation of the Quran upon this ill man. And the people, the tribe, they agreed with it. Fadl. As long as you can cure them, take whatever you want. فتوقفوا عن قسمه بينهم حتى سألوا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال عليه الصلاة والسلام. But some of the Sahaba, they were doubtful. Should we take material gain for reciting the Quran? Can we take money for teaching, for spreading, for giving the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? They refrained from this until they got to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. They returned to Medina, and then the Prophet sallallahu, he said, Asabtum aqsimu wadribu li ma'akum sahman. He says, Asabtum. He says, you were right. You were right. Wadribu li ma'akum sahman. He says, iqsimu. He says, split up the animals. You get 5, he gets 5, he gets 5, he gets 3. And then to reassure this, the Prophet sallallahu, he says, and give me my portion. He said, what? Give me my portion. In other words, it's totally halal for you to take material gain off of you reciting the Quran. Shaykh Ibn Baz rahimahullah then says, وَلَمْ يُنْكِرْ عَلَيْهِمْ ذَلِكَ وَقَالَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ إِنَّ أَحَقَّ مَا أَخَذْتُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرٌ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ. The Prophet did not reject them. He did not refute them. He did not repudiate them. He did not criticize them for taking money. And he said to them, the thing that deserves the most for you to take money for is the book of Allah. If you're going to work, if you want to get money, if you're going to do anything, the greatest thing is to teach the kitab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran. Shaykh Ibn Baz, he then says, فَهَذَا يُدُلُّ عَلَى أَنَّهُ لَا بَأْسِ بِأَخْذِ الْأُجْرَةِ عَلَى التَّعْنِيمِ كَمَا جَازَ أَخْذُهَا لِلرُّقْيَةِ. He says, so this proves that there's nothing wrong with taking money for teaching, just as the Sahaba took it for the ruqyah. That's the end of the fatwa of Shaykh Ibn Baz. You don't have to agree. You're not forced to take Ibn Baz's views. That's not the point that we're trying to prove. We're trying to make a point here is that something is wrong with you forcing people into taking your